Good morning, everybody. What is happening? Welcome back to the YouTube and take my sincerest apologies. It's been a minute since I picked up the camera. I've got no excuse, none whatsoever. I've just been busy. My challenge starts on Monday, not tomorrow. Today's Sunday. Today's Sunday the 27th. Challenge starts Monday the 4th. So I have been getting the groundwork done for it. Actually completing weeks of off season properly. It's just been quite time consuming, making sure I can get to my bed nice and early and stuff like that. So today I am planning on taking you guys through a day in the life of / a day of eating for an off-plan meal happening this evening. So during my prep phase, I had a Christmas, I had a birthday, I had a Father's Day. There was a few days where presents were galore, and I get food vouchers or days away or things like that because that's just what people buy me, and I love it. However, I was in prep, so I couldn't use these vouchers. So now we're going through the vouchers every couple of weeks. We're using one at a time. Today we're picking Fazenda, which is a all-you-can-eat meat buffet in Edinburgh. I will not be eating all I can eat. I will just be eating a standard amount, but we have had to make some amendments to the plan. So I'm going to show you what I've done. I'll explain my thinking behind it, the methodology behind the process, and I'll show you why I've done it, and we can hopefully install a bit better decision making by you guys as well next time you go out for dinner too. So today it's rest day. I usually have my first meal on rest day at 9:30. The reason why I push it out to 9:30 is because I like to enjoy my morning drink just like a training day, and then I like to enjoy a coffee. I have an extra shot of espresso on the rest day one, and I fill it up double the amount so it lasts a little bit longer. It means that I can then push my food out a bit later in the day, which then means that I'm not so hungry throughout the day because I can eat with much smaller intervals. This portion of the morning where it's nothing's really happening, I'm just sitting on my computer hydrating, drinking my coffee. I do enjoy pushing the food out during this part because it's much easier to get through, I believe. For me anyway. So what I've done today, right, okay, so this is my body weight tracker currently. You won't know, but today I'm actually dropped down to 101, and the time that I weighed myself today was 6:59. I actually had a little bit of a lie in this morning, didn't get out of my bed until 6:59. I was awake before then. Sleep last night was a very, very good one. We actually did 21:07, which is 9:10. We got a sleep score of, sorry, that's absolute rubbish, that's not what was in there, 8:09, so 8 hours and 9 minutes with a sleep score of 83, and that was from 9:07, and I woke up at 6:31. So I actually got a decent kip last night, which has been a very long time coming. So that's handy. Steps yesterday. I like to fill in my daily tracker daily. If you don't fill it in daily, it's not a daily tracker, is it? You're just winging it at the end of the week. So get the daily tracker filled in. Today's a rest day as well, so there's no data to go in there. And that's me pretty much done with my tracker for today. Resting heart rate was slightly elevated last night, and we were up at 61, which is not a big deal whatsoever. So it's looking good. It's looking good. I'll be putting my health metrics in these boxes just before I eat, and then we're good to go. So meal plan. What you can see here is on a training day we're at 4,200 calories, and on a rest day we're on 3,200 calories. Right, today's a rest day, so I'm going to have to pull from there. So what I've done is I've duplicated this meal plan. I've called it Fazenda meal plan, and then what I've done is I've pulled out pretty much 1,000 calories. So my calories for a rest day usually are 3,232. My calories for a rest day today are 2,262. So I've removed 970 calories from this day. I potentially will move more as I move through the day. If I'm not really that hungry, I'll take extra calories out. But this was all I was prepared to part with at this point. I will just make sure that when I go to Fazenda, I do not consume any more than 1,000 calories. The majority of these calories will be coming from meat anyway. So the portions of fats that I've removed and the portion of carbs that I've removed getting replaced for protein. It's not the best swap, not the most ideal swap, but I do know personally that inside 1 gram of protein, there is 4 calories. Inside 1 gram of carbohydrates, there is 4 calories. So it's the same amount of calories I'm going to be ingesting, it's just slightly different makeup of food. So I should manage to wake up tomorrow and still be on track body weight wise. I shouldn't really ruin my digestion. I'm not going to be making big ass changes and missing 5 meals so that I can go and stuff my face full in the restaurant, because that's not going to help anybody, is it? It's going to skew my digestion, make me feel shite. So we're going there to the all you can eat. I'm going to eat maybe a steak and a half, 2 steaks, a little bit of sides, a bit of veg, and that will be me. I will stop, I'll enjoy it, and tomorrow I will still be on point for push. So that's what I'll be doing with the meals for today, so that I can fit that in. Let's go and get meal 1 started. Cream of rice time. And I do not have the bowl inside here that I usually use because it's in the dishwasher inside the house. Okay, so inside this meal we've got 25 grams of cream of rice. Not a lot. I'm going to use a low-fat cereal, Cocoa Pops. I'm going to use actually instead of cream of rice. So it's actually not going to need a bowl. So this is from the Creamy Deluxe. I have to be totally honest, I preferred the original creamy. It's too big because I don't like to ruin my gut by having a litre of ice cream, so I have to split it in 2. And I only put 400 mils in there, and it just ends up going really chalky. It doesn't get a proper mix because it's not small enough, too much space in there. But it is what it is. 1 lid, 1 blade, we're good to go. Ice cream goes on. Ice cream is on. That means it's now time to take my morning supplementos. As you can see, Linda has this one labelled up, ready for me, Sunday morning. How do I know it's Sunday morning? Well, because it's white. If it was Sunday evening, it would be black. Just like this little black. We skinhead. So yes, morning supplements are going in. Pre-meal 1, always morning sups, always. I like to take them just before the meal goes in. For anybody who doesn't know, there's a lot of oils in here. Krill oil, 2,000 milligrams. There's 3,000 milligrams flaxseed oil, 3,000 milligrams of omega-3 from Trained by JP Nutrition, Omega Pharma Pro. So I've got about 10 grams of oil in here. Oily caps. There's a vitamin K in here as well, vitamin E in here, they're oil as well. Oil caps are actually far better uptaken in the body and more bioavailable when consumed with a meal that contains fat. So this meal today is actually probably one of my higher fat meals. I'm having 5 almond butter and 10 chocolate with it. That's reduced from 25 and 25. Uptake will always be helped. Now, little tip. If you're swallowing big handfuls of tablets like this, contrary to what you might believe, this doesn't make it easier. This does somehow. Gone. That was a client of mine, Mr. Paul Hunter, that told me that. What's in here? Is that what I heard you say there? So inside here we have 1 portion of my creatine for today. I'm currently on 30 grams daily. Yes, 30 grams daily is what I'm using. Why? I read that in a study, 30 grams of creatine daily has been shown to widely improve everything. Cognitive function, memory, muscle function, training intensity, recovery. So I'm giving it a whirl. So far, so good, feel good on it. So it's got creatine in it, 7.5 grams. And then we've also got 8 grams of Rise and Shine, which for anybody who doesn't know is a nootropic blend by Pit Stop Nutrition. Has 50 milligrams of natural caffeine in it, and the rest is pretty much from mushrooms. So it gives me quite a big cognitive boost. I like to have that after my coffee, so I'm not rinsing the caffeine too much, but I'm still getting a bit more of a boost. I like to optimise everything, don't I? Ice cream's ready. So what we have after the first spin. Yes, it does not look anything like ice cream. Mine does the same as yours, guys. So what do we do to fix it? Well, empty creamy cup. I only take half a creamy, remember, so that's why I have to use an empty cup. So what you'll see here is weigh the empty cup, find out what it weighs, because I still haven't written on the fridge. I'm going to write it on the fridge now. 175 grams is the weight of an empty creamy cup. But regardless, I'm going to remove it from here put this full one on to find out how much ice cream's in there. 420, so I know that half is 220. Sorry, 440, so I know that half's 220, right? So I need to get 220 out of there. Couple of bangs. One more for good luck. Couple more for good luck. See how much that is. 250. Close, but no cigar. So, 230, 223, 220 on the dot. Okay, so this one, because it's nice and flat, is going to go straight back in the freezer. This one here is going to go back on the scale. Going to add my other 20 grams of whey, because that's what I need. Oh, it's actually 50 I need in here. Usually I put 10 in my cream of rice. So we'll do 20 of caramel fudge. And then I'm actually going to put 10 vanilla in here as well, because the vanilla I feel thickens up a bit more. Job done. And then finally, guys, the last couple of ingredients that go in here. So we're going to go for 20 mils of unsweetened almond milk, which is just enough. And then we're going to go also for 50 grams frozen blueberries, and then I'm also going to do 50 grams of frozen mango. Gotta give that a wee push in. The blades don't like loose things, so the more compact and jammed in you can get it before it goes back in the machine, the better. Job done. That's going back in on respin. So kind of as I was saying earlier as well, I will probably, as I go through the day, remove other bits and bobs, just obviously to make sure that I do have that little bit of a blanket there for to enjoy my meal tonight. I'm not going to eat too much, but I do want to still enjoy it. I've got no cream of rice in this meal, which means I'm going to be losing that 5 grams of almond butter that I thought I was going to be having too. So I'll just keep that out, because almond butter doesn't really go very good in ice cream. Kind of makes it chalky. Okay, so just to show everybody, keeping it real, spin number 2 still isn't like ice cream yet. So it's still a work in progress. But what I am going to do now is give it a little mix from the bottom up, because all the fruit was on the top. So as you can see, it stays kind of on the top. So if I just give it a little mix from the bottom up, and then one more respin, and then it'll be time to add the chocolate. What a lot of pissing about, you're saying. It gets me ice cream daily though, I'm all for it. And for what it's actually worth as well, I don't have this every day. This is my rest day breakfast. On a training day, I do still have the ice cream, but it's just not quite as much of a piss about to make it a lot less things in it. Just a one spin and then add some chocolate. 8 weeks post show, and appetite's still pretty much there. Don't think it's going to be going away anytime soon. So for a little bit of learning, let's learn. There is a hormone called leptin, which is, it lives inside your fat, right? So I'm trying to keep this nice and simple. The hormone, leptin, is made and stays inside your fatty tissue. When you have a lot of leptin present, your brain will sense it, and it will shut down your hunger signaling so that you don't eat anymore and get any fatter. So, well, that's the theory anyway. When you're lean, like shredded, like proper lean, and there isn't a lot of body fat there won't be a lot of leptin present. When there's not a lot of leptin present, you'll have a massive appetite. So when you're shredded to the bone, it doesn't matter how much you eat. You could be eating 8,000 calories a day, guys, you'll still be hungry. So it's important to remember what the feeling of hunger is, what actual hunger is, and what just a high appetite actually is. Boom, we are ready. Ready to add the chocolate. 15 grams of chocolate, no, 10. I'm not adding the extra from the almond butter. I'm missing it. So we went for the 15. It's looking super yum-tastic. So that's it for the rest of the breakfast. It does get another 50 blueberries and another 50 mango in it. And then I'm going to sit down. I'm going to do a bit more of my challenge. I'm going to enjoy my ice cream. And then I'm going to get my next meals ready for the day, because we're going out soon. Now, the next meals are already ready, as you will see. Linda's already seen to that. But I do like to get them all ready in the keepy hottie box so that I can eat my meals hot when I'm out. Rest day food is ready, and we're going to crack on with that. I'm going to show you what I do with it. So on a day where I know that I am going to be having an off-plan meal, you've seen how I managed to take bits away from my meals, right? So that's because on a rest day, I asked Linda to actually separate the food. So what I will be doing today is I'll be losing the rice. The chicken meal already has the potato removed. The steak meal also has the potato removed, and I will be removing the rice from here as well, half the rice. I'll be keeping half of one of the portions of rice. And then everything else will be getting removed. And then that will allow me to have removed the 1,000 calories that I need to make way for the 1,000 calories that I'm going to consume tonight. So again, it's always just preparation. If you're prepared, you cannot really be caught with your pants down, kind of, guys. So 100 grams of pineapple going in my chicken meal. No carb actually, just the pineapple. So I'm going to get this one out of the way just now, whilst hunger isn't a massive issue. I've just had another coffee. That's how the meal looks. And here there is 200 grams of chicken breast, 75 grams of vegetables, 100 grams of pineapple. I like to chuck that in the air fryer, and I like to boost it on 180 degrees for around 10 minutes. Just gets it nice and crispy. The steak meal will be the next one to go in. So the vegetables in there are raw, so those go in just now on their own, on a low heat, while I'm pissing about with the steak. You're probably thinking, what a waste of time having Linda cook your meals if you've got all this pissing about to do after. But I don't really. I could just get her to add the salt, and then I could just microwave these and go. But I like my potatoes crunchy, I like my steak crispy and still rare, so there's no way for her to get it crispy and rare and leave it in the fridge. It's just impossible. Luckily, I have the time, so I just get her to do the bulk of the cooking, and then I do all the corrective action myself before I eat it, i.e. get it crispy in the air fryer, add the salt. I feel like when Linda used to add the salt for me, the salt's there, which is great. That's really all you need. But at the same time, I do like the taste of the salt. So I think when Linda cooks with the salt, I lose a bit of that taste of the salt, and then I want more salt, and I don't need more salt, so I don't have more salt. So I just add it once it's cooked. If you're wondering what the green window is, it's because it got really hot in here through those hot days. So I bought an air conditioning unit, which isn't big enough to reach the floor, so it's standing on my drill box. I then have had to put the hose out the window, but there was a wasp nest up there. I'll show you, just in case you're interested. There was a wasp nest up there. As you can see, it's looking like it's needing a bit of paint. So with the window being consistently open, there was wasps coming inside. So I put a bit of tarpaulin up, stapled it to the side, and then poked a wee hole in for the aircon unit. So now we've got hassle-free, wasp-free cooling in the EO headquarters. Because we don't like wasps, guys, do we? I don't like wasps anyway. The vegetables are in. The steak will now be cut up, and the steak will go in, and then that will be these two meals getting ready. If you want to see what I mean about the steak being rare and crispy, Linda cooks it to perfection. So that's how I like my steaks. It is a little bit cold because it's been in the fridge. So then what happens is I cut it up into little tiny chunks. Once the veg is ready, it gets thrown in beside the veg and the berries, gets crispy, and then I've got a pretty much freshly cooked rare steak, which has already been cooked and not really caused me much hassles. And obviously this is just what we have to do to make sure that we don't go over. I could easily just remove a couple of meals from the day and just go and binge like what a lot of people do, but that's then going to put me under my protein goals for the day, which is going to eat into my recovery capabilities. It's also probably going to make me super hungry when I get to the venue for the food. Massive amounts of hunger when you go to sit down for an off-plan meal probably is not the best idea, because it's very easy to let your stomach take over. So what I like to do is make sure that I'm not starving when I get there. And the way that I do that is by keeping all my meals going in and just adjusting the amounts. So by removing some carbohydrates and some fats, but keeping the protein going in, because protein, guys, is the only macronutrient that what? Promotes satiety. Satiety is the feeling of being full. So contrary to what you might believe, although you think fats keep you full, they don't actually. Fats just slow down the absorption of the carbohydrates. So if you have more fats in your meal, then your body will break the food down into sugar flour. So it slows down the conversion rate, which slows down the rate of which the food's turned to glucose, slows down the rate of which your blood gets a sugar spike, keeps a more stable blood sugar profile, doesn't keep you feeling full though. Can slow down the digestion, can keep you feeling a wee bit fuller, but it's not going to keep you feeling full for long. Protein, higher protein, will keep you feeling fuller for longer. So instead of removing the meals, I'm still going to have the protein 7s and the veg. I'm just going to remove some carbohydrates to allow for the extra grub. So another thing I'm going to be doing just now, whilst I'm waiting on these cooking, is I'm going to be removing half of the rice from my 2 prawn meals. So 1 full portion of rice gone, and then half a portion of the other rice gone, and I'll show you once it's done. Another thing that happens in this house, when there's an off-plan meal getting consumed, obviously I have all my meals for the day. One still has to go though, to make room for the other protein 7, of course. So it means that I've got a spare meal. Today, I've actually let Enzo choose which meal he would like, and he's decided that he wants the prawn and the salmon meal. So Enzo and Emma will share my prawn and salmon meal for their lunch. So there's no stress for what those guys are going to be eating at lunchtime either. Works well. Works well. It's not very often we go out for an off-plan meal in this house, but when we do, there's got to be rules and regs. Emma gets on to me. She says everything I do has to have rules and regs. Doesn't really, I just like a bit of structure. I get a bit out of sync if my structure disappears. So that's 12 o'clock. And that's meal number 2, ready, fresh from the air fryer. Nothing really impressive to look at, to be fair. It's actually quite pathetic. Here's a wee peek at this, right? This is meal number 2. Literally 200 grams of chicken, 100 grams of pineapple and 75 grams of vegetables. So not a great deal of eating on a day where I have to make amendments for an off-plan meal, which is probably why I don't do it often. Generally speaking, the food that you will buy in a restaurant, guys, contain a ton more calories than the food that you will consume at home. So like, I get it from my clients all the time. Oh, I didn't think my weight would go up that much because it was just a Nando's. I was just chicken and rice, and I took chicken and rice out my plan to eat the Nando's. Thought it would just be the same because it's just chicken and rice. Well, the chicken that you cook at home with no sauce in the air fryer and no oil versus the chicken that Nando's absolutely blitz in oil, sauce, and then fry in even more oil, going to be quite a difference in calories. For me to actually get a chance to go out and enjoy my food this evening and not be heavy restricted, I still will be restricted, but I won't be heavily restricted. I'll be able to go and enjoy a meal. I have to remove a chunk of food from my day. And generally, I don't like to remove that much food. So that's usually why I don't go for so many off plans, especially when my calories are so low. Once calories get a bit higher and there's a bit more leeway there and I don't have to quite cut as much food, it's a bit more of an enjoyable process going out for grub. But until that happens, I'm quite happy eating my food. I actually really enjoy my food. Really enjoy it. But yeah, it's meal 2 time. I'm going to inhale this little meal and then wash my dishes. So that is me pretty much almost ready to go. And what's in the bag? So for one day out of the house, not even a day, it's 1 p.m, we're not leaving till 2:30. So what's on the agenda? Well, I've got my last litre of water. I've got my second last litre of water. I've got my third last litre of water. So again, always staying prepared, not leaving anything to chance. If I go out without my water, then I will risk being dehydrated. And I definitely don't want to do that. So all my water when I'm leaving the house. In here, I've got meal number 4 and meal number 5. Meal number 6 will be happening in Edinburgh, and meal number 3 will be happening before I leave at 2 o'clock. So meals are in here, inside the heat box go. So they'll be nice and hot when I want to eat them, which is again another luxury that I get to enjoy now. Unfortunately, it is Sunday, it is a day of rest, but I do have a little bit of work to do. I can either go and do that work just now, and then when the kids are playing at the soft play that we're going to a soft play before we go for dinner. It means that I'll have to get up and walk. Or I could just go and box off my steps now, which is what I plan to do. And then I am going to just take my laptop and my power bank with me in my bag. And while I'm sitting waiting for a couple of hours on the kids playing, I'll be able to finish off the little bit of work that I've got to do also. As you can see, it's a job in itself, but at the same time, that's why I don't miss. It's all about being prepared, guys, and as long as you're prepared, you can't really get caught out. 9.5 times out of 10 when a client or a friend tells me that they've ruined their progress over the weekend because they went out. Generally, it's just down to lack of preparation. It's not because they actually went out, because today I'm going out all day. And nothing's going to change for me. Everything's ready to go. Everything I need is literally right there for the whole day. All my food, all my water. Only thing that's not in there is my supplements. I've even got my work in there today. What do we need to grab? Well, what's missing? The only one thing that's missing from that bag is my supplements. And today is Sunday. So we just grab the Sunday sups. And that is us good to go. Yes, people coming at you from Soft Play, Connie Fox. Currently waiting for meal for going in, and I'm actually making use of my time here, getting some client work boxed off that I never had time to do this morning, because if I don't do it just now, then I'll have to do it later when I get home, and then that means I won't be able to chill out. So it's getting done now. It's also time to eat, and you know what that means. It's Heats box time, meal number 4, guys. I did promise I'd show you them all, so let's have a little look. Prawns, rice, a little bit of sauce, a little bit of veg, and that is all. As I said this morning, because I had to cut out lots of food, my appetite is sky high. So once I am finished this, I'm going to treat myself to a little bottle of Pepsi Max, so that when I do get to the restaurant, I'm not starving. Otherwise, I won't feel very satiated, and it might cause me to want to eat a little bit more. One thing that always does happen though, on days like this when I do decide to come out away from the usual routine, steps are quite low as well. So I've got to get this meal boxed off and get this work done. And then that actually leaves me about 45 minutes before we have to leave here to go for food. So I'm going to probably go for a walk as well. It's a full-time job, definitely staying on top of all your shit, guys. But it can be done. And I'm living, breathing proof of that. Hopefully, now you'll all be able to go out for a meal and not ruin your progress by following the simple steps that I've outlined in this video. Something that you might be wondering is why I'm so anal about my food and so anal about my scale weight when I'm not pre-contest. So like, there's not a show in the immediate future. Like, my next show's probably not going to be until like May next year. I'm not starting prep until January. So I do still have like 22 weeks of growing to do in off season before I have to go back into a prep setting. Now, this is the time where a lot of bodybuilders take their foot off the gas, and everything just kind of, it doesn't get put to the wayside, but they stop giving so much attention to detail with their diet. They start getting sloppy, having bits of this, bits of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, won't kill me, you know, an off-plan meal tonight, miss this meal, miss that meal. Before you know it, it's just a slippery slope. There's a little bit of body fat put back on, routine starts to go in the bin, productivity starts to get lower, and you just start to feel a bit more sluggish as the calories come up. So I like to really, really make sure that I leave nothing to chance. I don't have a long time to grow. Like, I've got 6 months and that's it. I'll blink and I'll be in prep again. And I've been there so many times where you get to prep and you think, could have done more, should have done more, because I'm not going to be as different as I wanted to be this year. That's not going to happen this year. I was too close last year to where I wanted to be. I was mingling with the boys at the top. I was in the top call out in every show. I'm close. Me staying as lean as I possibly can throughout this off season will, one, translate to more muscle being added because my food sensitivity will be much higher. 2, it will translate to a lot more productivity than when I get sluggish, because when I add too much body fat, I get really sluggish. It'll keep my business turning over very well. It'll keep my sleep-wake time very consistent, because as I start to add a little bit of body fat on, my sleep time starts to get a little bit later. It just keeps me in a much better place. And then obviously all the body fat has to come off at prep anyway, so it's the point in adding it. I am lean still, but I have enough body fat on my body for it to be productive. Recovery's on point, strength's flying, sleep's happening again, so I don't really need any more body fat.
Granted, it will come on as I push up these next 2 weeks, but I'll do everything I possibly can to keep it to a minimal, and that's why I'm so anal about my food and the calories and the scale weight, etc, etc, etc. I've been there a million times. I used to live for the weekend. I used to bodybuild through the week and then live for my cheat meal at the weekend. That's all I wanted. Like, can I have a cheat meal? Can I have a cheat meal? Can I have a cheat meal? Now, I don't not have them. I have them when I want them. I just don't want them much because, as you can see, I have to make a lot of changes and I have to spend the majority of the day starving just in working a meal at night. And it's great, I love eating out, but once you've eaten, it's like, right, it could have just been my steak at home. It's the same. So that's why, guys, I'm a snob for progression, and I'm adamant that this year is going to be the biggest progressive year for me that I've ever had as a bodybuilder. So that's why I have to keep it on as much as I possibly can. Yes, guys, what is happening? So, we've touched down in Fazenda, and I had planned, obviously, to show you guys my plate. It's one of these places. So when you're full, you show them the red side, and when you're empty, you show them the green side. I'm still on the green side because I've not actually had a chance to eat yet. But I've got a funny feeling that I'm going to be getting steak shaved onto my plate consistently. There we go. Yes, please.
I have the fillet steak.
Yes, please, sir.
Medium to medium rare, is it fine?
Yes, please.
Can we get this one?
Yes, please. So as I thought, it's going to be pretty difficult to keep on the YouTube for you guys whilst trying to eat in here. So that's what my plate looks like. That's not 1,000 calories, but trust me, 1,000 calories will go in. Peace out, guys. Tell them, like, comment, and subscribe. So if you have not been to Fazenda, then I definitely recommend that you give it a go. Lovely scan in there. Very, very nice. Just your traditional over easy ticket table type job. If it's on green, they will continue to bring you out meat. If it's on red, they will stop. My favourite was the rump steak top part of the rump. Anyway, fillet was nice. I wasn't too fussy for the skirt steak. It was a little bit tough. Sausage was not the best, very fatty, so I just left that one out. I was on a pretense from Meg in Cuba not to eat the sausage because it was just a waste of time. I did try it. It was just a waste of time, so just stuck to the steak. There was a little bit of pork came out, tried that, that was lovely. It was covered in honey and it's not the best source of protein, so remember that, guys. Although your pork packets will tell you that they have 24 grams of protein per 100 grams, the same as what you would think is in chicken, that's the case. But the reason why we don't use pork in bodybuilding is because it's not a complete amino profile. So what that means is, just a golden nugget for you before I close off for the evening, in a complete protein source, there are 22 amino acids. 22 amino acids form one complete protein. Well, it could be 21 depending on which literature you read. However, 14 of them are non-essential, which means that your body can synthesize those by itself. You don't have to get them through your diet, it's not essential. You do, however, have to get the other 7 or 8, again, depending on which literature you read, from your diet. These are your essential amino acids. Now, what you need in a complete protein source is a good balance of all 22 amino acids to create a complete protein. Inside pork, there are a few that are not quite as optimal, should we say, as the other ones. So there'll be different quantities of amino acids. So it does still have a complete amino profile, but it's just not as good as chicken, steak, turkey, eggs, the likes of. That's why we don't use pork in a diet. Plus it's fatty, very fatty, and it doesn't digest very well. That's my take on Fazenda. I'm giving it a, what are we giving it, guys? Out of 10? A 9 or a 10? Don't know if I'd give it all that. What about you, Leo? 7, I'm more swaying towards that. What would you be, Ems? Em was giving it an 8. I'm going to give it a 7. It was a very, very good eat. It was a lot of eating as well. So much waste though, so much waste. But apart from that, very enjoyable experience. So guys, what we're going to say to YouTube before we close off, stay tuned guys, there's a lot more coming on the channel. Not just the training footage, but I am going to be putting a bit of time in now and doing a bit more educatory stuff, educational. So stay tuned for more guys. Peace out.